Right, so we're up in the world today. I'm joined by Nick Maddison from Stiebel Eltron. So Nick, today we're going to be talking all things Stiebel.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what Stiebel is, what Stiebel Eltron is,
Yep.
What it is as a company, what product lines you've got.
Yep.
You do an incredible amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So give us the elevator pitch.
Stiebel Eltron, we're a German family-owned company, started in 1924 by Dr. Theodor Stiebel. He invented an electric immersion heater. The company is still owned by his son, Dr. Ulrich Stiebel. 5,000 employees worldwide. We operate in 29 different countries, or have offices in 29 different countries, operate in many more. Main manufacturing facilities in Holzminden in Germany, in Lower Saxony, where 3,000 of our 5,000 employees are based, where we manufacture our air source heat pumps and ground source heat pump range. We manufacture ground source heat pumps in Sweden, in Arvika, with one of our sister companies over there. So yeah, we've been heating up water with electricity for 101 years. We've never stopped doing that. We've never not worked in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Started developing heat pumps 49 years ago. So next year is our 50 years of heat pumps. So it's going to be a big year of celebration. We've never worked with fossil fuel. We don't have that baggage with us.
Amazing.
We're not a gas boiler or fossil fuel manufacturer. The future is electric. Dr. Stiebel's LinkedIn profile still has that, but I think it says Born Electric. We're a heat pump manufacturer that also manufactures panel heaters, electrical water heaters, and have been doing for 50 years next year. 30 years of ventilation products as well coming up, so mechanical ventilation, heat recovery.
The one thing that really surprised me is we're actually in the showroom right now. And I always thought, Stiebel Eltron, heat pumps, there's just an incredible amount of stuff that you guys do.
Hand dryers and instantaneous water heaters, taps. We do a hot water boiling tap, which on the other side, we make heating elements for coffee machines. 9 out of 10 coffee machines that have ever been built, we heat the water up for it. Yeah, we heat up water with electricity very, very well.
Amazing. So, the reason that we're actually here today is to talk heat pumps.
Yeah.
So let's maybe start with the R290, because that seems to be the direction of travel for a lot of manufacturers.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what the R290 is from Stiebel Eltron and what makes it special.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've launched at the installer show in June, HP Next, which is Heat Pump Next. It's our next generation of R290 heat pumps, but not just air source heat pumps. We've also got R290 ground source heat pumps. We also have a unique LWZ product, which is an internal air source heat pump with mechanical ventilation built in.
Okay.
The two technologies work together, and we use a byproduct of the mechanical ventilation to increase the efficiency of the heat pump, and a byproduct of a condenser getting hot in a heat pump to increase the efficiency of the ventilation unit. With the air source range, we have from 5 through to 17 kilowatts. We have two ranges. We have a plus range and a trend range. So the plus range is our top range. It's our quietest, most efficient heat pump on the market.
Okay.
43 decibels is our quietest unit, and that's sound power level. Our trend range is slightly more competitive, and the goal with that is our installation partners is to allow them to install Stiebel Eltron into all of their projects. So rather than having Stiebel Eltron as their premium offering and then using a different brand to be able to offer it to that cheaper installation, they can install one of our slightly cheaper heat pumps, or our lower version of heat pump, let's say, and it's still the same product size, control system, backup support, commissioning from us. So we offer a full range of systems.
So you mentioned the ratings of the actual heat pump. So when you say that it's a 9 kilowatt heat pump, is that a 9 kilowatt at like -3 or at 7 degrees?
No, so our 7 kilowatt unit gives 7 kilowatts at -7. Our 10
Brilliant.
kilowatt
At
unit
-7?
at -7.
Wow.
This R290, so it can deliver up to 75 degrees C, and we deliver up to 70 degrees C right down to -15. So we've always been known to give true heat pumps. So one of our current version is the WPL 25. Now that's our 14.5 kilowatt heat pump. So historically, we used to actually talk about the maximum output that we could do, but now we give a true figure. So when we say it's 13 kilowatts or 17 kilowatts, it is 13 kilowatts at those minus design temperatures, or 17 kilowatts at the minus design temperatures.
So we're in the showroom, as I said, and it's absolutely roasting in here. Is this heated by a boiler?
No, this is heated by. We've got two of our new air source heat pumps outside. The two new HP Next ones, a cascade of two 7 kilowatt units. That's doing heating, cooling in here through underfloor heating. And then we have one of our current older units that's heating the other side of the building as well.
We actually met in the car park when I arrived today. We arrived at the same time. And you showed me the units outside. And I've got to say, in terms of quietness, I actually had to think, is this on? And you were like, no, it's on, I promise you. And you kind of put your ear against it. You can hear the compressor whirring a little bit in the background, but you can't hear it. It's, dead silent.
Yeah. 43 decibels are plus version or plus range. That's a 7 kilowatt. It's 46 decibels on the 10 kilowatt. Noise is a logarithmic scale, so it's not an exponential scale. So a 5 decibel increase is about a 25 increase of what the human ear hears. Our current WPL-A07 heat pump, which is our fantastic, one of the quietest heat pumps on the market, we've actually made it sound a little bit noisy by releasing such quieter heat pumps on the new one. So what we've seen in the industry is a super silent heat pump. That's now our base level for our plus range. So yeah, you have to put your ear next to the casing to hear the actual compressor. We've done it by things such as all the anti-vibrations built in by us. We don't want it on rubber mounting feet. There's no anti-vibration hoses. That's all built in. We don't want any glycol or antifreeze valves or anything like that. We look after all of that. So we've engineered to make it easy, to make it good, so the installer is fitting and he knows that he gets that support from Stiebel Eltron.
So Stiebel Eltron as a brand is beginning to get a little bit more kind of mainstream, dare I say, in the UK. So if you were to look at the landscape of the top tier manufacturers in the country, where do you think kind of Stiebel drops into that in terms of quality and price point?
Price point, we're competitive. I know there's other brands out there. When I was at Harrogate Home Building Renovation Show at the weekend and working there with installer partners, and they say, look, we offer your kit because we're offering it for £100 more than we would do the most well-known brands that are out there, and we get all of the extras that go with you. With regards to efficiency and quality, we're right at the top. There was a review done in Germany of all the heat pump brands, and we came joint top with another German brand.
Wow.
But our units are actually lighter. So for COP per kilowatt, for kilogram, with the sales story, I thought that's quite a clever sales story to give. Yeah, COP per kilogram is a bit of a stretch, but I did like it.
So the units outside, the grey ones, those are the plus units?
They're the plus units, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Trend, it's exactly the same unit. It's just got a slightly different casing on. I suppose it's a little bit like electric car. We allow it to work a little bit harder. In doing so, it makes it ever so slightly noisier, just 3 or 4 decibels, and it allows the power to go up. So if you pushed your accelerator pedal in an electric car, it just uses a bit more power. It's not quite as efficient as you would do if you were going at 50 miles an hour. So it's the same concept and the same quality. We haven't removed any of the quality, so it's not a lesser unit in the plus range, in the slightly cheaper range. We just allow it to go to a slightly more higher output, and we've changed the grill on the front of it as well. It's got a metal grill rather than a wrap-round plastic grill. So there's a couple of aesthetic changes, but when it comes to the bones and the lungs and the internal elements of it, it is exactly the same quality. We haven't made a cheaper product. We've just let it work a bit harder.
And I really like the color. The white one obviously is quite stark. If you've got a white house, that's great.
Yeah.
If not, it does stand out a little bit.
Absolutely.
Is there any kind of customizability options with Stiebel that you can change the colors?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next year our plus range is also going to be available in white. So as a manufacturer, we offer that from factory.
Nice.
All of our units are coastal protected from the factory, so there's no extra coastal protection needed. It can be installed in the coastal location. So we're going to have them from the factory in either white or black. I believe we're one of the only manufacturers to offer that choice.
Okay.
With regards to wrapping and painting, absolutely fine. I've seen them wrapped in Yorkshire stone to match a Yorkshire stone wall or brick or different colours. So yeah, we've got the two options. But there was quite an interesting discussion when I was at ISH in Germany in March. There was a young lady that was looking at our new heat pumps, and I went over and said in English, it was obviously a German show, can I help you? And she said, well, I was part of the design team that helped design these. And I said, oh, nice. What do you think? And she said, it's brilliant. It's the first time I've seen it in person. And so, well, what do you think of the white ones? And she said, white ones? I said, yeah, the white ones. And she said, we didn't know if we were going to do it. So it was the first time. So we took around the corner and there was the white ones. And at that show, we had a heat pump from 1976 next to our new heat pump. So 49 years of heat pumps. And the one from, I think, late 70s had a COP of 2. And our new units is a COP of 5.5. So quite a difference, but they looked fairly similar, just a different colour.
In terms of quality, I think that is something that I'm beginning to put a lot more focus on from a advice point to homeowners, because this is a heavy investment. You want it to last for a long time. So in terms of kind of approximate lifespan, how long do you think that one of your air source heat pumps can potentially survive?
WPL-25, the white heat pump that was out the front that we didn't go and have a look at, that's been outside of this building for 16 years.
And it's still going?
Still going.
Wow.
Yeah, we took it out for 3 months when we were testing another unit, but that's still there. So the only thing that you can see is the red on the blue is actually faded to pink. I'd expect a heat pump to work between 10 and 20 years. It is all about system design.
Yeah.
It's like if you buy a car and if it's not designed correctly, or if you run it hard or it runs out of its operating windows, it'll wear out quicker. But a well looked after, serviced heat pump system that's designed and installed really well, that type of lifespan.
That system upkeep is actually quite important, and that's something that there's a lot more emphasis now being put on that in terms of just making sure that you are servicing it correctly. Is that something that Stiebel offers in terms of not necessarily maybe doing it yourselves, but do you have partners that if somebody does buy into the Stiebel range, do you have partners that would actually then go out and service these machines to make sure that the warranties are actually honoured?
Absolutely, both of those things. So we have installation partners. We work directly with partners. We've been operating in the UK from this building for 17 years. We have long-standing customers that have been installing Stiebel Eltron for that amount of time. If they don't offer servicing, or if we work with a partner that doesn't want to get involved in servicing, Stiebel Eltron actually offers servicing in-house as well. We never go to a customer or install a partner, and but we offer that. If the homeowner wants to deal with a manufacturer, we can offer that, and we have our field engineers that cover from Scotland right down to the southeast and southwest that can offer that.
So that I found quite interesting is that I recently only found out that you guys actually offer design service. So if there is a homeowner that's considering doing a Stiebel, they can come to you, and you guys would basically help design that system for their property. Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an in-house planning department. So we can take plans or drawings or site visits. I'll send our specification managers out and they can go meet homeowners. As I say, we were at a show at the weekend speaking to homeowners. One of the first offers is let us come to site. Let's come and have a look at the project, and then we'll get in touch. With an installer partner, we can size it. Obviously, when it comes to the MCS sizing and the elements of that for the boiler upgrade scheme, that's where a accredited installer gets involved. But we can do it from that real early stage right through to on-site setup and then remote tweaking of the parameters on our online software down the line. So we take it from the very start and we'll hold the hand right to the very end. And 7 years parts and labour is our standard warranty, but we actually offer extended warranties after that. So if a homeowner wants to extend the warranty, it can go up to about 15 years with an annual plan with Stiebel Eltron after that warranty period.
So that then covers parts and labour. So, if, for example, any components on the heat pump breaks,
absolutely,
that's covered under that warranty.
Yep.
So you're almost kind of investing a little bit additional in that, but it gives you peace of mind that you bought a premium product and you're going to, that product is going to be in your garden for the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So 7 years parts and labour if installed by one of our premium partners, and it's serviced annually, and we ask for one of our remote monitoring software is on there. There's no annual subscription for that, so we remotely monitor all of our systems.
Okay.
It allows us to read and write, change parameters, adjust settings, proactively see if there's a fault, and we've sent sensors out in the past to homeowners or to installers, and they've phoned their customers and said, look, there's a sensor that I'm going to change because I think it might fault it down in the future, and they've been absolutely gobsmacked that we've proactively gone and foreseen what could be a potential issue, that they're down on heating and fixed it from the start.
I think that's excellent, because the one thing that we've seen is that there's a lot of installers that have unfortunately gone out of business. So you've installed brand X, that installer has gone bust, that homeowner is then stuck as to what am I supposed to do. So the fact that you guys retain access remotely to those machines and are still proactively monitoring that then gives that homeowner again a little bit more peace of mind. And obviously, if that installer's gone bust, you can then put them in touch with somebody else if there is a sensor or something that is on the fritz, that you can get that replaced.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have our in-house field engineers, our technical desk upstairs, so we'll deal directly with homeowners if need be. If the system's out of warranty, we can go and support. Our field engineers, as I say, they cover from Scotland right down throughout the country in Stiebel Eltron vans with kit and spare parts on there. So it's all about servicing the end user. They're the ones that are investing in our brand, our family name, our technology, and we want to look after that. As I say, we've been heating up water with electricity for 101 years, and we don't plan to stop doing that or sell to anybody. We're a family company, and the goal is to reinvest and develop Stiebel Eltron and keep offering the premium solutions.
So that remote monitoring, I assume that you guys can then tweak any amounts of parameters in the back end. So probably the easy stuff like weather compensation curves, but there are things like maybe related to the compressor or anything like that. You guys can tweak any of that remotely?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's our service vault platform. It's connected via an ISG, which is an internet service gateway. That connects to a modem or router. Then we have remote access to it. Our installation partners also have remote access to all of their systems on the same level of platform, and the homeowner also gets a version of that. and they get app control as well. So we can see an absolute incredible amount of detail, fridge temperatures, pressures, all the things like that get really geeky about, and we can adjust those parameters. A homeowner gets to see a little less than that, but they can have access. So we can see when things have been adjusted. One thing with heat pumps and heating systems, a lot of them are installed kind of in the summer or kind of going through into autumn. Are they set up for the depth of the winter? No, so we can remotely adjust a weather compensation curve, or adjust settings or flow rates or outputs. Domestic hot water output, for instance, if somebody wanted their cylinder to recharge a bit quicker, we can adjust the power that's going into that. And also our heat pumps also do heating and cooling, so if a heat pump's installed in the winter and there's been a rush to get heating into the property and hot water, when it comes to the cooling element of it, we've got field engineers, but we can also remotely adjust the cooling parameters and make sure that element's set up correctly for the homeowner.
So from an app perspective, how much can the homeowner actually change? Because I know that this is something that the installers, it kind of pulls their hair. It's like, the system stopped working, and they figure out that, the homeowner has actually fiddled a little bit too much and knocked things out. So I assume that can just change kind of very top line stuff.
Yeah, so room temperatures, hot water temperatures, holiday mode, comfort mode, those type of things, reset.
But no weather comp.
I don't think they can go in and change a weather compensation curve, but we can remotely do that. It can be done on the controller once they're in there. On our LWZ product that I explain, which is the MVHR unit and air source heat pump in an internal air source heat pump, the controller is actually behind a panel. So the idea with that is when it's set up and commissioned, shut the door, and then there's no need to touch it ever again apart from remotely access into it and just adjust if need be.
So apart from the air source heat pumps, I think Stiebel's got a terrific reputation when it comes to ground source. You showed me a couple of units at the back. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the ground source units?
Ground source, absolutely fantastic. We've narrowed the gap with air source, but if you asked me 10, 14 years ago what I'd recommend air source or ground source, it would be ground source because of that constant temperature. It's still solar energy. It's no different. It's not geothermal energy. People think that it's energy from the centre of the earth. And for every 100 metres that you go down in the ground, it's only a 3-degree increase, but you have a really steady temperature. So at a horizontal collector or 100-metre borehole, you might have 10, 12 degrees of ground temperature. That means in the depth of winter, you've got the really constant, and you've got those efficiencies right through the winter. We offer ground source heat pumps from low single figures right up to 87 kilowatts. It can be cascaded up to 16 on the same control logic, so 1.6 megawatts, that type of thing. We launched our WPI range, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago or so, possibly a little bit more, but that has our 454C refrigerant, so a low GWP refrigerant, 144 GWP, 70 degrees C flow temperatures, so a game changer at the time when it came to that. And along with our HP Next range, which we just released some R290 ground source heat pumps, so a solar and a 12 kilowatt internal propane ground source heat pump.
So this isn't a very popular opinion, but I'm actually quite a big fan of hybrids. I think that they definitely have a purpose and definitely a place in the market. How well are Stiebel Eltron machines kind of to set up with additional things like boilers or biomass or additional heating sources?
Yeah, we can do anything. So there's a few different ways that we can do it. We could turn on a gas boiler or a different boiler at a certain bivalent point. So if the design stated that the 10 kilowatt heat pump covered it up to +2, say, at +2, we can turn on a gas boiler. If the gas boiler's got a PWM signal or a 0 to 10 volt signal, we can actually use that gas boiler as an inverter, so we can run in parallel. So when it gets to a certain temperature, we can fire the gas boiler, but only give it enough power out of the gas boiler, which is reducing the amount of energy used in the gas boiler and optimizing the heat pump. Or we can do it on flow temperature, so we can say that a heat pump's going to flow at a certain efficiency to a certain temperature, but when that flow gets to a certain temperature and it can't emit the heat into a room, we can then fire that a gas boiler, and then that can give higher temperatures. Things like listed radiators and things like that, where somebody doesn't want to change, or installing a system and then changing things down the line and optimizing the system. We have heat pumps installed in National Trust properties, stately homes and things like that, so we can control all of those different logics, and that could get really geeky and go into the thing. I suppose that the the main element is we can do whatever's right for the homeowner. You know, how do they want it? Do they want it on a flow temperature? Do they want to be able to adjust it so it's really efficient, or do they want to have that gas boiler just as a backup in the depth of the winter? There's an argument that a well-designed heat pump system should be designed just below the actual output, and then when it gets really cold, back it up with electricity. Maybe have an immersion heater in the system that can boost the heat when it gets down to -3. But it's all about getting that heat into the property, so we can work with those different technologies and make sure they all work together.
And then there's integration into things like PV, into batteries, into smart home tech. I think that is beginning to get a real uptake, especially when it comes to kind of smart homes.
Yep.
So how much integration does the Stiebel Eltron line give you into kind of third-party smart home setups?
Yeah, we can do that too. So we have SG ready, our smart grid ready. Our heat pumps all come as standard, so they can be connected to the grid, and when there's excess energy available on the grid, they can operate the heat pumps. We also work with various solar companies, but Solar Watt are one of our partner companies, and they offer a home energy management system. And we have EM Trend software, which actually forecasts the weather, so we can operate the heat pump and we can dissipate energy out of the batteries when it's going to be sunny the following day.
Wow.
And then operate the heat pump. So we have a full turnkey integration. For us, it's working with installation partners. So we're an expert when it comes to heat pumps. Solar Watt are an expert when it comes to the PV panels and the batteries. We have underfloor heating companies that are experts when it comes to that heat emitter element of it. So working with a true installation partner that can offer that whole turnkey solution is the ideal solution for a homeowner to ensure they're encapsulated into it. Then there's all the learning functions, the machine learning and the AI. So our systems actually in the control board, again, without going into too much detail, our printed circuit board, they actually learn how quickly a house heats up and operates. So after a few days, if there's a big heating demand, the heat pump won't just come up and ramp right up to the top, which is really inefficient. It knows how quickly that room operates or that house operates, and it'll just heat it up. So that's all built in. And then we're doing lots of surveys on AI integration. But do we want to take that element away from the homeowner? I don't think we do. Or
I don't think so.
At least give the homeowner the option. Do we want an algorithm or an AI learning machine to know how hot a house is going to be for a homeowner? No, I think that should be the homeowner. Now, if they really do want to go down that route and have the COPs, and that's a true basis, then we're working on that with all the legislations that's coming in too.
And one of the other big things that a lot of homeowners focus on is using time of use tariffs.
Yeah.
So is it quite easy to configure your heat pump to, for example, if somebody has got cheap electricity from 12 at night till 4 in the morning, to ramp up that heat pump to kind of try and preheat the house a little bit more? Does that flexibility exist in the controllers?
Yeah, it does. So we're working with various companies. Somebody like SolarWatt who offer that home management energy system, they can do that. The thing with houses, you don't want to overheat a house too much.
Yeah.
So it's not a great store of energy if a couple of degrees, 3 degrees. But to boost a domestic hot water cylinder, for instance, if you have your hot water stored at, say, 50 or 55, actually elevating that temperature on our heat pumps, it can deliver up to 75 degrees C to give a higher temperature. It gives the use of energy that's in there. Absolutely. And connected to the grid when there's smart tariffs or tariffs that give cheaper electricity on heat pump tariffs, we can absolutely connect to them as well.
So we touched on the design elements of what you guys do. If somebody is interested in that, how do they actually get in touch with you? And do they then have a choice as to which installer they potentially pick?
Absolutely. So they can get in touch with us. A phone call to our office. I'll look at our website and find the local specification manager, send me an email. We'll then get somebody to site, or we can have a look at drawings. It can go through our planning department. We can get a rough spec done. We have online toolboxes, which are open to everybody, and we have heat pump tools on there where you can put your energy tariff against a gas boiler, your electricity, even a heat pump tariff if you've got that, and it'll work out running costs, COP savings. So a homeowner can have access to that there just on our website, on our toolbox. We could then recommend one of our trusted partners or recommend a number of our trusted partners. We have installation partners shown on our website as well. So if a homeowner wanted to go off and do their own research on that, absolutely. We're about supporting the homeowner from the start to finish. They're our customers. They're the ones that have our name and still the Stiebel family name on the product outside of their property or inside of their property. We'll help them every step of the way so they get the best solution. And the peace of mind element of it, if you're spending money on a heating system like this, it wants to be installed correctly. It wants to have the backing of the manufacturer, with the backing of a manufacturer that has a presence in the UK and people on the ground. And if we have an installation partner that wanted to take us to go and meet one of their customers because the homeowner wants to meet somebody from the brand and from the company to see what they're about. Homeowners are more than welcome here. I had an installation company a few weeks ago. They just wanted to come and see what we're about, so we came here and we were running a training course, and we were able to turn on the heat pumps and look inside of them and show them what they're going to be getting at their property.
And this is a terrific showroom. I mean, I would heartily recommend anybody that's watching this, and you've got an interest in Stiebel, this is definitely a great showroom to come to. We are just outside Liverpool, though. Are there any other showrooms around the country, or if you want to see Stiebel, this is the only place to come?
This is where we're based in the UK at the minute. There is plans to open up other areas. We do have external training centres in some colleges throughout the UK. Our trainer, Sean, he's actually down with one of our customers doing remote training today. So we'll take the training to the customer. But no, at the minute, this is the showroom. We do end user shows, so the home building shows, Build It Live shows. If you wanted to come and see our products at those shows, we're there as well as a representative.
So to wrap this episode up, Nick, Stiebel Eltron, if somebody's watching this and have got an interest in it, what's your key message to them, and why should they trust Stiebel Eltron?
We've been heating up water with electricity for 101 years, 50 years next year of heat pumps, so it's going to be a big year. We've been developing heat pumps, and we haven't stopped developing heat pumps in that time. As I say, it's our family name that's still on the products. We will support from the very early stages right through to the warranty periods of the product through our installation partners. We offer that secondary warranty elements as well to support it. We have field engineers that can come out and will happily come to any project. We take it from the very beginning. We don't let go of it. That's our products that are in the market, and we will see them through to the very, very end.
And you're positioned as a premium brand in the market, right?
Yeah, premium brand in the market. As I said earlier, we do have a couple of levels of products, so we can serve all products from our three main heat pumps. I believe we can serve between 80 and 90% of the UK housing stock. And then when we get up into the big stately homes, we can cascade the units with some unique products and, remotely monitor things. And we don't charge for the remote monitoring. That's just a service that we offer and we want to offer, so we can ensure that the homeowner has the right system at the end of the day.
Well, Nick, it's been absolutely amazing to actually see the product line. Thank you so much for showing us around.
No, thank you, Miles.
And if anybody actually wants to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way to get in touch with Stiebel?
Via email or phone, or go onto our website. Loads of information on there. Yeah, we can get you in touch with our regional specification managers. So I'd say, hit the World Wide Web to start off with, and drop myself a call or an email, and I'll put you in touch with relevant people.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nick.
Super.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye.